You did White Iverson with Post Malone.
We did it, I think, at 7:30 in the morning. I was trying to go to sleep, man. Post was like, yo, come on. So he went in the booth, cut it. It was pretty instantaneous that it was something really special.
Roddy Ricch, his first big breakout single, right?
It's rare to see the people who really want it and are willing to take the steps that it takes to get there.
If we talk about Juice WRLD, clearly the fans still just feel so connected to him.
You know, you couldn't even help himself. He's just so honest and so pure.
So you pull an all-nighter, you're working on music, you fall asleep for a couple hours, you wake up at like noon.
Yeah, I realized I slept 2 hours into the evacuation.
You just walk outside and you just see flames.
I just saw like a volcano at the top of my hill. We're all impermanent.
Yeah.
And what we do in how we handle things and how we impact other people in the world is like the reverberation of our existence. When I thought about it like that, I'm like, I'm ready for an adventure. I maxed that place out.
Go. Let's go.
What is up? Welcome to episode 67 of Go with Elmo. Today's guest is shaping the sound of modern day hip hop, and his name is Rex KUDO. In recent years, Rex has written and or produced with Lil Uzi Vert, Juice WRLD, A$AP Rocky, J. Cole, Skrillex, DJ Khaled, M.I.A, Mac Miller, Roddy Ricch, Future, Young Thug, Trippie Redd, and his breakthrough track was White Iverson, which put Post Malone and himself on the map. Rex is a super awesome guy, very prolific, community-driven, and has an amazing outlook on life and creativity. Just last month, Rex unfortunately lost his home and his recording studio in the Pacific Palisades fires. It's been an incredibly rough time out here. If you've been impacted by the fires, our hearts go out to you. My family has been impacted by the fires, so we know how tough it can be right now. But right after the fires, Rex and I went to dinner, and I was just incredibly inspired by his optimistic and positive outlook, even though he had just gone through such an incredible loss. So I asked him if he would come on the pod and share his story with you. And that's when I realized he had never done a podcast before. So I hope you enjoy getting to know the amazing guy that is Rex KUDO. He's doing really special things in music, and he's got a huge career ahead of him. So I hope you love our conversation. If you're new to the show, please like, subscribe, and share it with your music-loving friends and family. We're dropping episodes every week, and we're going deep. So without further ado, here is my discussion with Rex KUDO. What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, man. Good. It's a beautiful day out here.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for coming over.
Of course, bro.
Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having me.
Nice little Saturday.
Yeah.
I know it's a little early in the day for you.
Yeah, you know, it's early-ish.
That's one thing. Okay, so Rex is a night owl, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, he likes producing at night into the early morning.
Definitely see the sunrise every day.
Sunrise every day and sunset, right? You told me.
You get both. So pretty blessed, you know.
I can't do it, dude. How do you do it? Were you just always that way?
My dad was like that before I was even born. So I think it's just ingrained.
You're just born to be creative. I feel like if you're a night owl at that
lucked
level,
out.
you have to do it. So, man, we went to dinner the other night, and I left so inspired because, for those of you who don't know, so Rex is obviously incredible human and producer and songwriter, and we just had these crazy fires rip through California, and Rex lost his house and his recording studio, which is so crazy to think that that's even possible. Man. And we went to dinner and we're talking about it, and your outlook was so positive and optimistic that I was just like, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I was just like, man, like more people I feel like should hear your genuine feelings and outlook on this amount of loss. I can only really imagine what you're going through. I know, my family's affected with the Altadena fires, but they didn't lose their houses. They were just, just displaced for a month and a half
Smoke
or whatever.
Damage and
Smoke
all that
damage
stuff.
and all. They were right adjacent to it.
Mhm.
My brother's house was like, it like jumped over his house, but he's in
It's crazy, man. It just does what it wants to do.
It's so crazy to think
Yeah.
about how, some houses were just like fine, and then and they're surrounded by devastation. So that's like my brother's house, and then my mom was like 2 blocks away from it, but yours being in it, and even with them going through that with them, which isn't even the amount of loss that you've been going through, and let alone that it was your house and your studio.
The studio was the hardest part.
Oh,
Man. It happens fast, dude. It's like, it's one of those things that you think would never happen to you.
yeah.
Like getting hit by lightning, getting eaten by a shark, your house burning down. And you think that if your house is burning down, it would be your fault with the kitchen or something like that.
Yeah, you left the stove on.
Yeah, you know, it's like in LA, because I'm born and raised here. You're from here too.
I'm from Pasadena.
Yeah, this has never happened.
Yeah.
Never, it's unheard of.
Yeah.
And then it happened.
Can we talk about it?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Because you had already told me some of it, and I was just, the story is so mind blowing. It needs to be shared, and it's good to to put in a time capsule, since you are, which is so amazing about you, moving forward, moving
Absolutely.
on.
I mean, what
right?
else?
What else can you do?
Yeah, it's either like curl up in a ball, go outside, or just press on.
Okay, so back to, you're a night owl. So you're a night owl. You're up all night in the studio. What happened? So the day of the fires. So that evening, you heard fires? Did you even hear that fires were starting?
I heard that there was winds.
Okay.
I was supposed to go to Shangri-La the next day.
Yeah.
And
Rick Rubin studio in Malibu.
And Eric, who runs Rick's studio, he called me and said, "Hey, we got a message from Malibu City saying that there's gonna be hurricane winds." He said, "So there's possible, that the power might go out here, in which case we'd have to do another day." So I was okay, keep me posted. And then was comping vocals with my friend Kenny till about 8 a.m. Kenny went and passed out in the guest room. I went to my room. It was actually a beautiful day. It was blue skies. It's really nice. And then I had Shangri-La the next day, or the day of. And so I actually woke up stoked. I woke up like, oh, let's go. Today's going to be awesome. And then I looked at my phone. I saw all these texts, all these calls. It's like, yo, wake up. Yo, are you all right? Hey, I saw that there's a fire in the Palisades. And I was like, what? So actually,
what time is this at?
This was I actually slept 2 hours into the evacuation. So this was at 12:30 because I had a meeting at 1 with my friend Marcos.
So it was 12:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah. And I realized I slept 2 hours into the evacuation. And so I had all these calls and texts, and my phone was on silent. But my alarm, because of the meeting, went off at 12:30. So that's when I woke up. And I walked outside, and it was just like volcano at the top of the mountain.
You just walk outside and you just see flames.
I just saw it was billowing like a volcano at the top of my hill.
And what do you do?
I was like, whoa, this is actually real. Because you always hear about the fires and you're like, okay, and then they get contained.
Yeah.
But I've never saw it from my house.
Yeah.
Right outside my bedroom. It was pretty unreal looking.
So you pull an all-nighter, you're working on music, you fall asleep for a couple hours, you wake up at like noon to your friends being like, where are you?
But dude? I didn't even wake up to them. I woke up to my alarm.
Okay, you woke
because
up
my phone was on silent or something, or vibrate or whatever.
Because luckily you had a meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
So you had to wake up.
Thank God for Marcos and my other friend Neek.
Big shouts.
Yeah, for real.
And so because of that alarm, thank God, you then wake up and you see...
Woke up, had about 10 minutes. So I walked outside.
Yeah.
I was probably out in 10 minutes. So I walked outside, saw that, walked in my closet, said, okay, forget clothes, grabbed my duffel bag, scoured the house for the hard drives.
Of course.
You know what I mean? What else? Like, So I got my last 10 years of work.
Thank God, yeah.
Which... if I wasn't able to grab that, you wouldn't even be seeing me right now.
Yeah.
So I felt all right.
And your engineer was there?
Yeah, he was passed out in the guest room. I actually thought he left, and I went and opened the guest room and saw he was passed out. I was like, yo, Kenny, wake up, man. I was like, we gotta go. There's a fire right now. So we were out in probably 10 minutes, and Kenny helped me carry it. I managed to save 3 synths. You got my mini Moog, memory Moog, and Oberheim 2 voice, and saved a couple pieces of gear that belong to Pink Floyd, just because they're magic talismans.
Wait, so which Pink Floyd gear is this?
WEM Audio Master mixer.
My God, and it's from Pompeii.
That one's not. The mic is.
Oh, the mic is from Pompeii.
The mixer was from their tours through the 60s.
Wow, dude.
There was 1 of 4 of theirs.
So you have Pink Floyd gear, you got your 3 favorite synths, You got your hard drives.
Yeah, and 2 laptops.
And you just throw it in your car?
Threw it in my car, and I actually had to make a choice between 2 cars. So I saved this 1969 280 SE Mercedes, the gold one.
Wow. Which was your pops?
Yeah, it was. My dad was an artist, and back in like the 80s and 90s, my mom was an art dealer as well.
Yeah.
And she popped his art off, and someone gave him that car for a painting. And then, yeah, over time, I had it restored, and it was in the shop for a long time. And it came back 2 weeks before this fire happened.
Wow, dude.
So when it went down, I was like looking at my car, like the everyday car, because that one's less of an everyday car.
Yeah.
More of a nice day down PCH car.
Yeah, and a sentimental car.
Sentimental for sure.
Yeah.
Because also my dad passed away 2 years ago, so it's
Yeah.
extra sentimental.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was like, all right, I'm gonna save that car. If this is going down, and it's one or the other, that's it.
Yeah.
And so I threw some of the stuff in my friend Kenny's car, threw the rest in my car.
Yeah.
And I get to the top of my street, and it's bumper to bumper because Sunset was bumper to bumper, and that's I think 10 minutes after we left, because I got to Santa Monica after like a whole mission, but that's when people started leaving their cars on Sunset and getting out, just taking their keys with them too.
Because there was just so much traffic.
They were just trapping people. People were stuck in bumper to bumper, and then they were seeing the fire. So then they were panicking, and they're like, just fuck it. Just jumping out of the car, running with their keys, and leaving all the people behind them. Yeah.
Yeah. Just screws everybody.
Man.
They're taking their keys and just running out in panic mode, leaving their car.
Exactly. And my street is off the side street of Sunset, down past the Bel Air Bay Club. So people were they managed to get off on my street. So I went to the top of my street, bumper to bumper. I'm in this gold Mercedes that had just come back from the shop, and the windshield wipers were like stuck on, and then it started stalling and dying on me.
Oh no.
So the car is now turning off while the windshields are, wipers are going ham. And it just, boom, move up a foot, dying. And I'm like seeing the fire in the back. And it was unreal. It was really unreal. It was a trip, man. Definitely like a movie.
It's mind-blowing. It's a full-blown movie. And so when you had to make the choice of the car, I love this about you. This is a big character thing. But, Rex chose, it was his dad's car that was given to him or his Bentley, right? So obviously the Bentley is more expensive in modern day money, in current money. But I love that about you, man, that you chose. You're like, I'm taking my dad's car. Let the Bentley go.
Served its purpose,
Yeah. So that happens. Then what happens?
Made it to Santa Monica, and that's when I started seeing all these cars are stuck. People are stuck on Sunset, and then shortly after that is when they started bulldozing those cars off Sunset.
Oh my God! So thank God that you did just run out, grab those few cents, the few pieces of Pink Floyd gear, your car, your hard drives, 2 laptops, gone. Yeah, and so you made it to safety.
Yeah, and I was still waking up while this was happening because we were out in 10 minutes after I woke up and was like, just searched the house for the hard drives. Got what we could, was out, and then that's when everyone was like stuck, and it was super surreal.
Did you have your hard drives in a spot ready to go?
I wish they were supposed to be. So some of them were, and then some were in. I have 2 different studios. Had 2 different studios at my spot, and I went to both rooms, and then I realized that there's also some sitting on the table in the living room.
Yeah,
and I'm like, damn it, man. And I went to this drawer where they're all supposed to be, and I called my guy Reese that works with me.
Yeah.
And I said, "Yo, Reese, where's all the hard drives? I'm looking in the drawer and I don't see any." He said, "Feel above it. There's a secret drawer. You kind of have to feel the groove and then pull it out." So I did that, and I saw 12 hard drives.
Thank God.
I know. Thank you, Reese, for answering that call.
Man, if you didn't answer that call.
So I just scooped all of them, threw in a duffel bag, and it's just out.
But still, so at that point, you must not be thinking, "Oh, my house is gone. Like this is it."
Yeah, you don't think, because I probably could have grabbed more stuff.
Yeah,
but you think, there's no way it's actually gonna happen. But you're like, just in case, I'm gonna get these things. But
so you're in Santa Monica now.
watching, again, it looks like a volcano going off.
Yes.
Pretty crazy.
At what point did you realize, and how did you find out that your house was gone?
So from Santa Monica, I went over to Skrillex's studio,
Yeah.
where I went and saw him, and he's a good friend. So we were just hanging, kind of watching all this stuff go down, and I ended up staying at his that night. And I think it must have been like 11 a.m., almost noon the next day. My uncle, who lived in Malibu, called me and said, "Hey, I managed to get some kind of pass, and I drove past your house, and it's still there." So this was probably like noon, and then 20 minutes, and it's crazy that I made it through the night because I was watching the fire map, and I was seeing my house in the middle of this ring of fire.
Yeah.
And somehow made it through the whole night to like noon the next day, where my uncle called me and said it's still there. And then his girlfriend called me 20 minutes later and said, "Hey, I just drove past your house," and she sent me a video and it was on fire.
Oh my God.
And it was the studio in particular what was on fire when she sent me the video too. It was
Oh
like,
my God.
yeah, it was pretty crazy. So I was with Sonny and Alex Boys Noise.
Yeah.
It was there too. And we saw it and was like, man, this is pretty unreal, but pretty real at the same time.
What are you thinking? What are you feeling? How do you process that?
It's pretty interesting, It's like I'm always fascinated with what we can deal with when we have no choice.
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting thing to me, and to see that we can deal with it. And it's also, what are we supposed to do? I saw it and I was like, man, this is nuts, and this is real, and this is happening. You can't really shy away from the fact, or like, also I think freaking out is not gonna. It's kind of like putting a plastic bag over your head, where you're like blind and suffocating, and you can't think properly, or analyze correctly, and what to do, how to move.
Where did you get these skills from?
Shit, I mean, my dad's Japanese, so probably some Zen philosophy baked in there,
Wow. Of just moving on, moving forward, acceptance.
And also, him and my mom's house burned down before I was born, which is interesting. And seeing, this is not the first time this has happened to anyone.
Yeah.
Rick, is also, we have a lot of friends that lost houses in the Malibu fires and the Woolsey fires.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was watching friends' houses drop off like flies before my house even went down. So I felt that it was coming, and I accepted it before it happened.
Wow. Yeah, one thing that you said to me that also really stuck with me is you were like, I believe your exact quote was saying like, I don't know if this is fucked up to me to say, but this kind of feels like a fun challenge. Like I need to overcome this.
Yeah, at this point in my life, I'm definitely ready for the challenge, and I spent the last few years exploring new sound, but also saying to myself that I want to find comfort in the uncomfortable zones.
Yes.
To go into the places in the forbidden zones, or places outside of our comfort zones, to find and discover new things, new experiences. And when this happened, I was like, this is an ultimate opportunity, and a great challenge, but really, an opportunity at the, like, mastering the skill of holding our peace.
Yes.
And before this happened, I had managed to find a perspective that I was able to hold. And when this happened, I said, this is no different. And if we look through our lives, it's never a straight line of like, if you're ups or downs, everything. But that's also what makes the experience.
Yes.
And every time that, in our lives, I'm like, man, it's hard to see past this thing, or how are we going to do it? You do it every time. And so at this point, I've just looked at patterns, and I've seen the patterns, and I know that it's always been like that. So this time, I don't think I need to stress it, or I don't need to be upset about it. It's, it's no point in like being angry, or like, even, of course it's sad, there's things like, there's things that you don't even realize are some of the most important things to you, which are just like the silly little cards and notes, or whatever. And obviously the pictures. Yeah. Those are the things that I'm like, damn, I missed that. but everything else is replaceable, and it's good to know that if you strip away everything, we're still the same.
Yeah.
We're us.
Yeah.
You know.
And you got to go back to your house.
Dude, I mean, there was no house, but yeah, I went back, took 3 weeks, and it was literally just rubble. It was ash. It was really crazy.
Yeah, nothing was there.
No. At the fireplace.
Are you emotional like doing this, or is it?
I actually wasn't. I accepted that this, was a real thing that happened.
Yeah.
And also, after losing my dad 2 years ago, this was not the greatest loss of my life. So that prepared me for this in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, man, I'm sorry about both, bro. Like,
thank you, man. I mean, it's life, it's life.
It is
Nothing,
life.
We're all impermanent.
Yeah.
And what we do in how we handle things and how we impact other people in the world is like the reverberation of our existence. So when I thought about it like that, I'm like, I'm ready for an adventure. I maxed that place out.
Yeah, I maxed that.
I never left there. I was there 7 days a week. Saw the sunrise, sunset.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd go and get a coffee, pick up some food, come back to the mission.
I love it, dude. Super inspiring, man. Yeah, you are super tapped in, dude. I love how you're clearly such a community-driven person.
Absolutely.
And the community is supporting you right now as well. It's coming back at you.
Such a beautiful experience as well. And there's been so many things in this. I think by not suffocating myself with just like anger and fear and some of those things that would tend to come along with these situations, I've been able to really just see a lot of beauty in it. And I'm just very grateful that nobody I love got hurt.
Yes.
That I'm grateful that I was able to save my hard drives.
Yes.
And already in what has it been, like a month and a half? I've already learned a lot. I've been outside.
Yeah.
Which is rare for me, but it's good. It's good.
You've been outside. You've been staying with friends, just having friends give you their studios.
It's honestly been a beautiful, beautiful blessing.
Yeah.
And overwhelming, honestly, in the amount of love and you receive, and it's like, whoa, because you didn't even realize there's like friends who will think this stuff but never have like a reason to say it, and it's almost like more pure that way because it's but then when it's something like this happens and it's like, you don't even realize sometimes how much what you do matters to other people and how it sticks with people. Why
do you create?
Exactly.
The most important question, Rex's question. It's written on the board behind. We don't normally talk about what's on the board, but hey, it's there, and it's I mean, this is the fact that that's your question and you ask yourself that and answer that and you have this outlook on everything. I feel like that is all. It's all the same thing. Like your positivity, your output in general, is probably why you are so okay with this and just moving on and knowing like
it's that, and it's also that I just feel very lucky, obviously all things considered, but I've been so blessed to see a lot of these wild dreams we have when we're kids.
Yes, dude.
Then even when we grow up more, and one dream leads to the next dream, because I kind of look at the dreams like horizon lines where it's like the ultimate dream, your ultimate goal is like the horizon line where it's like the edge of intangibility. It's like the last thing your brain can comprehend. So that to me, when I dream the biggest I can, it's almost a little blurry, and then as you get close to it, it's more defined and it's more clear, and then when you get there, you just see another horizon line.
Wow, dude.
So those have always led me to the next ones, and there's dreams that I've been able to see in real life that I didn't even know I would have. So I do feel like at this point, it's all the bonus.
Yeah. What you lost shows you everything that you did have.
Yeah. And also, again, it's like to lose everything and just know who you are, and that none of that stuff makes you
doesn't define you.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yes, dude. I love it, man. It's so inspiring. Like I love your outlook, pushing forward, because everyone goes through hard times. It's all relative of what is harder or easier, how you can process something. It could be something that's not even close to as significant of a loss,
Yeah.
but you process it so difficultly, or whatever
It's
it
a
may be.
perspective, I
Yeah, it's all
realized.
perspective.
And it's
Yeah.
even using our creative minds and willpower to scan through as many perspectives as we can and to find the best one
Mhm.
that we can comprehend mentally, spiritually, and hold that.
Yes.
And honestly, it works, man. I did it. I'm doing
Yes.
it, you know, and in a really crazy way, I haven't woke up and had like anxiety or a terrible day since this whole thing happened. I've had stressful things where I'm like, oh, okay, this insurance, I have to deal with this stuff, but
Yeah.
cool. You know, that's
Yeah.
just life is, we'll always have those things.
Yes, definitely. Man. Well, I'm glad that you appreciate and realize how blessed you are.
Absolutely, man.
And yes, dude. So I would love let's talk career now. We
Yeah.
did the fire talk. Because man, you've had such an incredible career and you're such a low key dude, right? Like you're like, you know, I can tell that you just want to be in the studio.
I enjoy that.
You want to be doing your thing. Like I'll hear you on huge songs where there's like the other producer puts their producer tag on it, and you're just like, nah, it's cool. I'm on it.
Because there would be like little signature things that I would put in my stuff for
Yeah.
anyone that knew me. They could hear it and know that
Yes.
it was me.
What are those things?
One of those things would be like a specific type of vocal processed
Mm-hmm.
sample thing that I
Yeah.
would make by just chopping up vocals.
Mm-hmm.
But it processed them a certain way, so
Yes.
it's like you can hear it in Die Young by Roddy Ricch, you can hear it
Mhm.
in Dark Queen by Lil Uzi, or like
Mhm.
Patek Water with Young Thug and Future. And there's other songs like that that my friends would call me like, yo, I heard
I heard that.
Yeah.
So I'd love to understand kind of the journey a little bit more with you because I actually don't know that about you. So from the outside looking in, it was like, okay, you did White Iverson with Post Malone, and then all of a sudden you were dropping all these other projects. Was that the project that really put you on the map?
Absolutely.
And what were
That
you?
opened a lot of doors, and we all learned a lot.
Yeah.
And prior to that, I had worked with Wale,
Mhm.
and that was also
Oh,
I think he was like the first artist that I knew of that I worked with, and I was like, whoa, this is possible.
yes.
And then I started working with Mac Miller,
Yes.
and he was awesome.
Before Post.
Around the same time,
Around
but
the
I
same
think
time.
right before and
Yeah.
then during. But yeah, so that was also like, whoa, this is, you know, to see a world growing up and then to realize that you can be or are a part of that world is a quite
Your contributions are valuable. Yeah. So, okay, so White Iverson comes out, obviously changes Posts. I mean, Post is on the map. You're now on the map. What was your life like before that?
we're just kids, man. You know, we're just
Yeah.
having fun. And it's easy to get caught up in the rat race of like, oh, okay, we got to make stuff and then we got to try to pitch it out or whatever like that.
Mhm.
And when we started working with Post, me, Charlie Handsome first, and another friend, Don, it was kind of all of our realizations of fuck the rat race. Let's make something that is like blows our own minds, isn't chasing anything, isn't trying to be something else, but rather like a discovery of like, whoa,
Yeah.
what's this? And the world doesn't have it yet. And once it sees it, it'll never be able to unsee it.
Mm. And how did you start working with Post?
Through FKI first.
Okay, yeah.
We're staying at this other house with this video streamer, and then Charlie Handsome and I were working with first.
Yes.
And then so first and Post, yeah, ended up coming over, and then kind of just ended up
Mhm.
staying there too, over at mine with Charlie as well. And yeah, every day. Honestly, Charlie and I were working with first for I think a couple months or so before we even started working with Post.
Nice.
And it was just kind of like the gang. We'd go
Yeah.
out, we'd have fun, we'd come back, have kickbacks or whatever, and be playing the music that we're making.
Yes. And would you, because there's a few songs on that album that you were working on. So was White Iverson like the first one? Was that just
I want to say it was like the third
it
one.
was like the third one, yeah. And
that day it was funny because that day it was like something that Post had already started. They like
Yeah.
played the chords on it and stuff. And yeah, it was. We did it, I think, at 7:30 in the morning,
Wow.
and everyone was. We had made another really crazy, song that day too, and it was like a total opposite to that song. Really special, almost like Bob Dylan, Beatles. Yeah, I don't know. It was a really special one. And then we did White Iverson at 7:30 in the morning, and to me, both songs being in total opposite spectrums, that's when I knew.
That he was special?
I knew that he was something that the world did not have yet.
Yeah.
And once they saw it, or the world saw it, that is, you can never unsee it.
Yes.
And that absolutely that he was special.
And okay, so 7 in the morning, and that happened. So you're in that kind of dream
I was trying to go to sleep, man.
Yeah.
Post was like, yo, come on. He's like, I got this song. And I was like, no, dude. I was like, I'm going to sleep. And then he started singing it to me. And
Wow.
I was like, you fucker. Just go in the booth.
He's just like, what? He's singing to you on acoustic guitar and just singing?
He just sang a cappella in the room.
Just sang a cappella.
And he had the thing started too.
Yeah.
He played the chords. And so he went in the booth, cut it, and honestly, we did it relatively quickly.
Wow.
But it was pretty instantaneous that it was something really special.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I don't know. He was hearing harmonies on them, and he like recorded all these harmonies that were great harmonies. And usually, I'm always about that, but just specifically this one, I was like, I don't know. And so I muted the harmonies. Can't remember if I muted or deleted them, but I think I deleted them because Post was really curious of how do you do this, and so he learned how to use Logic and record himself too for like if I was out or asleep or something.
Yeah.
And so when I crashed out, he went and re-recorded all the harmonies. And then so when I woke up, I was like, man, this song is crazy. The harmonies were all there. Just not this one.
Wow.
It was the only one. It was really interesting. And if you listen to all the other songs we did, there's mad harmonies.
Wow.
It's just that one, which is really, it's interesting. I almost never do that.
It's really, it stands out perfectly without it. Yeah.
But that was like, Post is a special guy. That was just, he was dressed, in his Iverson jersey, and we'd go out like that. And he was White Iverson.
Yeah.
He had the braids.
Dude, I met him back then. Actually did a gig with him, which is
amazing.
A funny short story. I did a gig with him with Andrew Watt.
Oh, right.
Where I was filling in on drums for them, and Watt was on guitar. And Christian over here sitting behind this camera was the other guitar player.
Oh, no way.
And that's how we met.
That's amazing.
We met with Watt and Post. And I was just subbing on drums. But I met Post. It was back then with the braids and the whole thing. So we got to hang a bit.
Right,
back
we would
then.
go out, and then he wouldn't even get let into clubs because, I don't know, clubs are kind of messed up where they're like, he's got braids, you can't come in here.
He's got braids.
He can come back on Urban Night.
Oh,
it's like,
wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy, man. Crazy times, bro.
That's wild. Okay, so then the song comes out. How does it change your life?
Oh, it was instant. I remember the day after Mac Miller hit up Post on Twitter, and we're all like, yo, did someone send this to Mac? No, he just discovered it on his own. I want to say Post had like 52 followers on Twitter or something like that.
Wow.
And kind of similar on Instagram too. It's like, like 100 and something. And then, so we're like, how did he find that? And I would say the one, there was no label yet. I think now it says that Republic released it on something 2015, but it really came out in 2014 on SoundCloud.
On SoundCloud, yeah.
Post made the artwork on Photoshop in like 10 minutes or something like that. And our friend Key, who was managing Fat Man Key, I would say she was the only push, if there was a push, because she used to work at this magazine 10 Deep, and she knew some people at like Complex. So you know what I mean? So she was like, is it cool if I send this? Because we uploaded it to SoundCloud from my studio. And she was like, is it cool if I send this to a couple of friends over at Complex and whatever? So like, yeah, sure. And then that was it. There was no label. There was like,
it just caught.
Not even like a management around yet.
And it caught on SoundCloud.
It caught. And then the day after Mac hit him up, Wiz tweeted him, and we're like, whoa, what? Like, this is crazy. And then I think third day Future reached out, And it was like every
Whoa.
day we
Yeah.
knew by a certain point that it was just gonna be, we wake up today. What's going on? What's happening today?
Wow, it's so fun.
Yeah, it's pretty magic.
That's so fun. So then what? Like you get in the studio with
Well,
Mac.
then so we realized we're like, all right, this is happening.
Yeah.
And
How old are you at the time?
I must have been 24.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Man.
Crazy, dude. So, all right, this is happening.
Yeah,
now
this is
what?
happening, and then that's when and then through that's when Young Thug was
Mhm.
he reached out through my friend Jeff,
Mhm.
who manages him.
Nice.
And I think he was just his A&R at the time. Now he's his manager, but he hit me up and said, "Yo, Thug's, he really loves the Post stuff, and he loves what Post is doing. He loves what you guys are doing with the production, and he wants to connect." So then, yeah, Post and I and Charlie Hanson went over there, linked with Young Thug. And we started making some stuff, which was pretty awesome. All of us, everybody was, we're like, whoa, this is such a unique. Thug is one of the most special artists too.
Yeah. You went to the North Hollywood studio?
No, we went to Windmark in Santa Monica.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which is a nice studio.
Yeah, super nice studio.
And then started some stuff, and that's when I started working with Young Thug a lot. That was that must have been 2015.
Was that the next thing for you? Really
That's who I really connected with and locked in with.
Yeah.
And ended up making a lot of music with. And it's funny, you know how it is with the music stuff. I think over the years, and he works differently than most people, just with the amount that he. Some people are really obsessed with the process, which me too. But every day, 365, his birthday, Christmas, Thug would be going in.
Always tracking.
Always going, always just boom, boom. So I think over the years, we probably made like 200 songs.
My God.
Yeah.
You doing that with Baines?
With bands, and also even before, when I started working with Alex Toomey.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah,
dude.
shout out Alex.
200 songs.
Really, honestly. And over, I mean, it was like, because he would just go and go and go. And then I remember there was a window where him and Future, connected, and they were both inspired. And I think there was like, must have been 20 with just them two. And Weezy and I connected with Weezy through Young Thug.
Nice.
And it's funny too, because it's like going in as like a newer producer, not even like new to them. Weezy was already with Thug, and I could imagine too, of like I'm like coming in, I'm just like some new guy, and
you're young, you're super young.
Exactly. Yeah. Weezy and they're probably like, man, who the hell is this?
Yeah.
And then it's at some point, Thug told me and Weezy, he's like, I want you guys to go make some shit together. And then we did, and then Weezy and I ended up just becoming close and working together a lot.
Sick.
Yeah.
Did you have to earn respect, or did you not have to because they were like, oh, this is from Post and what Iverson, he's legit?
I think you always have to earn respect.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Sometimes even the more stuff you do, how you act and how you carry yourself is, because someone could, they could have 10 diamond records and they came in and they're like, act like they're, you know what I mean? It's like, I think how people carry themselves and what our intentions are is ultimately what earns my respect.
Yeah.
And awareness of others beyond of, I'm the main character in my movie.
Yes. Absolutely, dude. Have you always felt that?
I realized that at some point. I think when we were younger, you're like blind to some degree or unaware. And I think by just having great teachers and exposure to, people who break outside of the normal way of thinking has been enlightening to me for sure.
Okay, so Thug, what else? What like at this point now, do you have a team? Do you have a manager at this point, or is it just you and you're just juggling all this?
LYOR Cohen and Austin Rosen were managing me when I started working with Post.
Oh, when you started?
Yeah, so I introduced Post to Austin Rosen.
Yeah.
And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, and then Lewis Bell.
Post manager.
And
yeah.
Billy Walsh, who, all these guys, they're good friends.
Wow.
And Billy and I were working together in like nightlife shit.
I was gonna say that. How did you even know those guys?
Well, Billy and I were working together for this woman named Jen. helping organize like parties and stuff like
Jen,
that.
like SPE Jen?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Imagine.
She was my neighbor.
No way.
Yeah.
Shout out Jen.
I lived up Sunset Plaza. Jen lived across the
Jen
street
actually
from me.
lost her house in the fire too.
Really?
Yeah, I'd be running into her at the Palisades.
Oh no.
Joint. I know.
Oh man.
But it's actually crazy. Imagine Jen, me, Billy, Sponto, and then that guy Jerry Lorenzo. We're all just working for Jen.
What were you doing?
Literally just organizing parties and just hustling.
This is at SBE, which is a big LA Hollywood party.
Yeah, it was funny.
Promotion company. That's so funny. I did not know
It's
that.
really like
dude.
random, you know, almost
yeah.
like not random, but it was just funny because it wasn't music.
Right, it wasn't music at all.
But we, you know,
what was Austin Rosen doing at the time, pre-post?
he was managing an artist named Mike Stud.
Mike Stud. Okay.
And
Dude,
then
that's
I think
crazy.
Yeah, Lewis was there working with Mike.
Wait, so LYOR already was on to you before White Iverson?
Yeah.
Really? God, LYOR.
Yeah, Leo's on it, man.
Dude, he's so on it. That's wild. So then he was like, "I knew you had it in you," and then you, and then what did LYOR do for you?
Some people, I mean, one of the main things he did for me is let me be in the room when he was having his meetings, and would talk to me about, kind of break it down, and there was a lot of really fascinating, just different, you know what I mean, scenarios that I would be seeing, and then he would kind of break it down for me after, and I definitely learned a lot through that.
Wow. So he signed you as a producer, or he was managing you as a producer. So he was hearing your work before then, just knew you're super talented. Yeah. Before you had any cuts, anything.
Exactly.
Wow.
Like some little, but not like that.
Were you always doing hip hop?
I loved hip hop.
Yeah.
But I was like, it would still be, even, I don't know, when I trace it back to even some of the earlier stuff, it would still have like a folkiness to it.
Yeah.
And
that's that's like the,
I love that, man. I think, you know, my mom always would like play like, Bob Dylan and Johnny Cash and all that stuff at the house when I was a kid. And
I noticed
Rubber Soul.
Rubber Soul's the best, dude. That's one of my favorite albums ever.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's what would be playing in the background of my childhood memories.
Wow, it's beautiful. Yeah, as I've been listening to a lot of your tracks, because like I listen to these artists, right? But a lot of the times as I'm listening to them, I'm not necessarily paying attention to who the producer is or who the songwriter is on each one. So then in us being friends and me just being like, oh, Rex can come over, let me just listen to specifically all the Rex songs, right? Like, and I've been going through and listening to a lot of your songs, and that was one thing that I picked up, is I was like, there's usually guitar. Yeah,
I love that. You know what's crazy? I remember when we did Go Flex, me and Charlie Handsome, it was the second single after White Iverson.
Wow.
And I remember that it didn't get service to radio because we heard what we were told was that, sorry, it has acoustic guitar on it. We can't play this on hip hop radio. Which is like kind of disappointing because that was what was exciting to me.
Yeah.
It was like a folk song that we trapped out because you shouldn't do that, but that's why it's cool.
Wow.
So then it didn't go to radio and it wasn't pushed, but it's still, I think it's 8 or 9 times platinum, and that was with no push. So if it had the push, and then if you listen to music now, I mean, there's, you know, on hip hop radio, there's so much guitar and so much acoustic guitar,
especially your tracks.
It's just funny, man. It's like, you know,
is that you intentionally being like, I'm gonna show them they made a mistake?
Well, it even was happening on its own.
Right.
It was just, you know, it's just sometimes that's the game. You know, if you so consciously and avidly want, you know, and are hungry for something new and fresh, you also have to be willing to accept that that might just be the thing that helps pave the path, rather than, I remember, even when Old Town Road came out, there were like, someone I think asked him of, how do you feel about pioneering this country trap stuff? And he mentioned a song I did with Young Thug that was like country.
Nice.
And he's Thug saying yeehaw, you know what I mean? It came out a couple of years before, and I was actually with Thug when I saw that, and I showed it to him, and then the next day X was over there doing the Old Town Road remix with Young Thug, which
Wow.
is pretty crazy.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I'll you know, whether it's like Juice World or whatever it is, I'll hear acoustic guitars on it
Yeah.
a lot of the time. And yeah, so I was like, okay, so Rex is like folk emotional hip hop.
Yeah. I think that's a good. Yeah, definitely. I love that stuff, man. And also, yeah, emotional music,
Yeah.
music that moves, music that's honest
Yes.
will always get me.
And let's talk about our boy Skrillex.
Oh yeah.
We love him, Sonny. We love you, dog. So on the second of the newest albums, I saw you did Way Back,
Oh yeah.
which is my favorite song on the album.
That was so much fun.
And once again, I didn't pay attention that was you. I just knew it was like PINKPANTHERESS and Trippie
Yeah.
Redd with Skrillex. And I was like, this song is so fun. It feels so
it was
good.
so much fun making it. That was the vibes.
Man, I love that track. So when you're, I know when you're with Skrillex and you have really that whole collective, that whole community, because I'm like, how do you work on what thing at a time? Are you just like passing songs around and everyone's just working on their laptops and adding
It's like
art
when
to
we're
it?
kids and we're building a sandcastle
Yeah.
and someone was over there building the moat and someone's like, making the drawbridge or whatever. And it's like, or a snowman. And it's all of us just having fun. That's what it is. And that's one of the things I love most about working with Sonny.
Yeah.
It's not a rigid work environment, but it's easy for us to get back to our inner child selves and indulge and feed the curiosities.
Can we talk about your COVID sessions?
Oh, absolutely.
What you had going on? I feel like you guys did COVID so well.
That was one of the most amazing experiences of my life, for sure. Obviously not that people were sick during COVID, but I think for creatives to have this buffer time and to not have the thing that exists of like, oh, I'm supposed to go to this thing, or I don't even want to go to this thing, and there's like stuff happening, but to not even have to make the excuses or to feel like, oh, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing by going to do certain things. It's like I could unapologetically create.
Mm-hmm. So what were you guys doing? You were at Shangri-La?
Well, Sonny and I we went to Shangri-La because I was finishing up the M.I.A. album, which Rick Rubin and I were executive producing together. And so I asked Rick, I said, yo, and M.I.A. couldn't enter the country at that time because of the border lockdown and stuff. And she was in London. And so she told me, you need to hold it down and just get it done. Obviously, relaying it back with her, every step of the way. But so I asked Rick, I said, hey, there's a couple more songs that we need to finish, and Skrillex, Sonny is also helping produce them, and we're gonna finish it together. So I said, can I get the studio Shangri-La for like 3 days probably? He said, yeah, of course. So we went, and we left 4 months later. Literally, that's literally what happened.
So that was like right when COVID started. You hit him up, being like, "Can we go to Shangri-La?"
Yeah, it was lockdown already. There was like the curfews going on.
Yes,
and it was a really interesting time, obviously, and it was worldwide. That's what was crazy. It was the first time everybody was experiencing something together, and it was like this mass shock and like kind of like you don't know what you're supposed to do, but then it was also dope because you're a hero if you just don't do anything.
Right.
If you just stay home, like
you're
a
the
hero.
Man.
You know what I mean? Like it was dope.
So you end up being locked out at Shangri-La.
So yeah, exactly. So we got it done in about like probably like a week or so. We got, did everything we needed to do. And then we just started jamming. And these jams just kept evolving. And because it was lockdown and there was no tours and no shows or anything, everyone was around. And Sonny and I were kind of like, fuck it, man. Let's jam it into the end of the world if that's what this is.
Yeah.
And we did. And then other friends started seeing that we're there, and then we started having ideas too of like, oh, this would be cool if, and then it started to create this almost like vortex of a draw-in where then you had Kid Cudi and Bruce Johnson from the Beach Boys there at the same time, and then you have Ty Dolla $ign on bass and Jason Later, who's Rick's guy who did the drums on 99 Problems, like playing a synth, and then Mike Einziger from Incubus on guitar while Ty's playing bass, and then Sonny's on the drum kit, and then Scott Storch is pulling up, and then London on the tracks pulling up while Sway Lee's there, and Brandon from Incubus.
So fun, dude.
And then Rivers Cuomo from Weezer is coming, and it's just such a interesting, constant mix of all these. It's like the things that would never happen, but every day.
Yes, and you're in Malibu, so it's like a little bit outside
Yeah,
of
exactly.
everything. Everyone feels safe. There's space or whatever, and you guys
Yeah,
are just
and Rick had like an on-site doctor named Johnny that would come and
test everyone.
And it was it was
The
crazy,
COVID
man.
compliance officers.
Exactly.
Oh my God,
Exactly.
dude. That was such a weird time.
Crazy time. And I remember too, COVID tests were like expensive as hell too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys were just making so much music and doing these collaborations that would have never happened.
We made so much music, and we were so just locked in and inspired too by just this unplanned thing that was almost just like an event.
Yeah.
Of like a phenomena of like, whoa. So we ended up not leaving, because kind of if you're so in if you catch a certain zone, at least for me, I want to be in service to that zone.
Yeah.
It's almost like a magic portal opens up, and I want to be there to catch it.
Yeah.
And or if you're, it's like a doctor delivering a kid, you got to be there. So I didn't want to. I was almost afraid to go to the gas station because so much, you know what I mean? It's just, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what you're going to miss.
Yeah.
So we ended up just, Sunny's creative director, Marilyn, I think she came with like some tents and teepee stuff. Yeah, and we ended up just literally not leaving there and just stayed there for 4 months.
That's so nice.
It was really such an amazing, inspiring experience for all of us, and Sunny and I were funny because we were like, if this is it, man, this is it. This is, it's the best place, and, we're doing what we love.
Yes.
Almost with the kind of a rebellious spirit of everything was so locked down that we're like, fuck that.
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember Sonny FaceTimed me, which is when I met you. I met you on FaceTime. That was how I got hip to you. It was like on FaceTime one day when he was like, come through. And I was going to bed.
Oh, man. Yeah, it was 24/7.
Yeah.
There was always someone driving, and this is what Sonny will call it. Or I forget the name, but it's the van. Like a band who's like, they're still on the up, and before they have the actual tour bus and stuff, they're driving like cross country, and the drummer might be driving the van, and then the singer and everyone's like passed out, and then when the drummer's tired, then the singer wakes up, or the guitarist, and then he takes over the wheel, and so there was always somebody driving.
Always keeping it going.
24/7.
Yeah.
Even if someone was passed out, someone was awake running it, and it was going. And then we'd wake up and then be like, whoa, what if we do this? And then just every day, you didn't even know who was pulling up. It'd be like Thundercat and JD and Domi, and then Tony Russell Jr. and Tony with Sway. And then it was just, I remember Corey Henry and Corbin, who used to go by Spooky Black. They both met each other without knowing who each other were.
Yeah.
And it was on recording.
Nice.
Because I think Rick wanted Corey to come down and meet me and Sonny. And Corbin, who, is one of my favorite artists and I think one of the ultimate tastemakers, Corbin had just gotten on the mic to try something. And so Corey walked in, and he walked in with the harpeggi thing.
Yeah.
So we're like,
what is this?
Yeah, we just plug it in. We just plugged it in immediately. And so Corey started playing that, and Corbin started singing, and neither of them knew who each other were.
Yeah.
Which was like pretty fascinating because they're both very special. And so they started learning each other on recording, and I think within 2 or 2.5 minutes, Corey had already read like Corbin's where he vocally was wanting or like to go.
Yeah.
So in under about like 3 minutes or less, Corbin was like, I'm a kid in a candy shop. Who, much love to Corbin, is again very high level tastemaker, so very final boss. Hard to pass those sonic tests.
Man. Speaking of sonic tests, so Rick Rubin, like you and Rick are quite close. It seems. I feel like you're at Shangri-La.
He ended up becoming a great friend, and obviously is like a sensei to me.
Yeah.
And before I even knew who he was, when I was younger, my mom would tell me like, "This is someone you want to grow up in your career to parallel of some sorts." Which again, you can't ever compare.
Wow.
What he's done is incredible.
Is your mom stoked that you're friends with them now, or what?
Yeah, my mom. It's cool, man. My mom is so, she is always rooting for me in such a big way, and
That's beautiful.
she's always really excited, and so I'm
Yeah.
always telling her what's going on, and she'll also, I'll play her music, and she'll tell me the vocal needs to be more clear. She always will
She gives good mix notes.
Yeah, she'll give me mixed notes, honestly.
I love it.
And she would give me mixed notes even before doing the post stuff. And I remember when she would always tell me, you can't hear the lead vocal enough. Or not, she wouldn't even say lead, but you can't hear the voice or the vocal enough.
Yeah.
And then I remember when I was doing the post stuff, my mom was like, you can hear it. This is it. You know, and she knew. So I'll still run stuff by her, and then she'll tell me what she thinks.
Wow. What is it like? So you've been witnessing a lot of Rick, and I feel like you are like a Rick Jr. in the making as you develop. Just because once again the community centric feeling of like you collaborating with so many people across so many different sounds, and Rick of course doing the same. Like, are there any key things that you've been taking away from Rick?
One of the greatest things I learned or kind of realized is he would talk about the music like it's alive. He'd be like, oh, it feels like it wants to do this, and it's like this being, and I started to entertain that thought. And when I started to entertain that thought, I started to almost communicate with the music. I would ask the music questions. Do you want a harmony? And then it'll tell you, no, I do not. Or it'll say, absolutely, maybe one more.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And it's like you kind of hear it, like, and you, in that way, you can ask you questions, or you can listen to it. And sometimes I even think that if I'm like, oh, I had an idea, what if we tried this? It might even, it's possible that it's the music just saying it to you.
And by doing that, you're just opening up the question in your mind to kind of entertain a thought and
It started with entertaining the thought, but then what was really interesting is seeing what the music would do.
Right.
And then so I started to produce the music as if the music is the artist, if that makes sense.
Wow. I like that a lot. That's really interesting.
And when I did that is when it came to life in a different form, in a different level, that when I listened to my music in the years previous to that, it's not the same.
When you were exec producing M.I.A's album with Rick, what is it like co-producing a project with him?
Oh, it was super fascinating. And there was things that I was excited to and knew that I would be learning, like arrangement and stuff like that. But then there was definitely things that I didn't even know existed to learn.
Yes.
Which, you know, were like revelations that led to more revelations that kept blossoming. And it was definitely, and from her too, but I learned a lot about just the intention that goes into it.
Yeah.
And also how important that is. To the point where I started, after that, hearing almost why people were making music more than even the song itself sometimes, which was really eye-opening. And then it made me start thinking about, why do I do this? What's it for?
That's
exactly.
That's when it popped up.
But yeah, and so, you know, I'd be sitting down and, of course, arrangement stuff, but then like, why? And how much, it's almost like how much space and how much time, and just really like zeroing in on the attentive intuition.
I was reading something the other day that never ask someone why, always ask how. Always ask how, when referring to at least something that has already happened.
Well, what's interesting is that this is something I thought about too, is I remember one of my friends, they came and they had heard like almost like a new sound that I had been exploring after realizing and learning some of the stuff. And they said, how does it sound like this?
Yes.
Like, I've known you for, you know, a long time. And then so what I realized when I told him is, it's the why. The why I'm doing this is how it sounds like it does.
Interesting.
When I started to think about, you know, after 10 plus years of doing this, it's like people are still, and God bless everybody, going into a studio and trying to find fire. But if we've done this for a decade or however long, or some people even less time, we know how to find fire. We know it's what we do. We've established this already. It almost feels like caveman to like just walk in and be like, need fire this hard. You know what I mean? Fire. And that's it. It's like, I want to use the fire. I want to light a way. I want to show people what's possible. I want to discover what's possible and discover a new experience. And I realized when I started thinking about that, that's what a lot of, to me, not even to me on paper, what a lot of the greatest stuff of all time was.
As you're collaborating with so many people and working on your own projects and everything, is there a certain place in which you start? Do you typically start with a beat or a vocal or is it always different with you? Or I mean, if you're jumping into a project,
but like we'll start with a jam,
yeah,
and ideally, yeah, a couple different friends, people on like someone on guitar, someone on keys, someone on bass, and we'll just jam it out and just have fun.
yeah.
That's it. I think as long as we're having fun, and then of course you up the possibilities when the different homies that are playing are the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people that have sworn, by their sword and that for their whole life and have zeroed in on it on ways that we've zeroed in on other things.
But how do you choose then? Because if you have all this talent making this incredible jam,
it's the magic moment.
That can be 2 hours, right, or whatever.
It might be 3. It might be. But
look for the magic moments. Yeah,
this was key to me, and this is what those that 4-month window at Shangri-La really taught me. Is again, if you have literally all the best in the world, and you have Thundercat coming through, and you have Bruce, and you have, it's everyone's so special, and it's like, whoa, this bass part is crazy, but then someone else might be messing up on the guitar at the same time.
Yep.
And if we're just jamming horizontally like that, trying to go back and rebuild magic moments, I realize is really challenging, and
yes,
it's hard to capture that same magic that happened in that moment. You might have an essence of it, but then it's still. It's like a reissue, or it's, you know what I mean? It's like it's inspired by, but less so the actual magic moment. You might have a piece of it. But through those jams, I was able to dial in a formula where it took a while. But when everyone's jamming, and you're like, oh, how do you know? You know the moment when everyone's jamming and everyone's like, well, they look at you, everyone looks at each other like, yo, you heard that? Like, that's it. That's all that matters. Nothing else matters now.
Nothing else matters.
And
I love that. Because I can get lost in the jams, man. I can get lost in the jams.
Yeah, it's easy to get lost in the jams, but there's the moments, though, where everyone is like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Everyone looks like, damn, that's it. And capturing that lightning in a bottle and everyone honoring their parts in the moment that happened is the key.
And then do you build around that on top of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overdubs. That's it. It's like, because
you're like, there it is.
If you run it, and there's a certain way to run it where everyone could keep going until they get their favorite takes of that magic moment. And as long as, that's what I meant by honoring the part. If everyone is able to honor their parts of when that happened, or even dial it further, and then you drop them all in, it's like, everyone's like, whoa, it's a fully built out section.
Yes.
But then, boom, let's hit it again. Does the lead have a harmony? Does the chords have an octave of them? Is there a counter melody? You know what I mean? And then so, boom, it's coming to life instantly, instant gratification for the people who are playing it. And it's like, it's kind of rare to see a section can be fully built out in hitting record twice.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's success right there. It is absolutely success. Can we talk about Juice WRLD?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love Juice.
Man, so, yeah, what was it like creating with that guy? What was it like?
The most fun.
Man.
The best times, always. And Juice was such a sincere, and, you couldn't even help himself. He's just so honest and so pure. It was really always an amazing time working with Juice. And I think about it all the time.
Wow. It's crazy. Yeah, he went in like such a, just one of the, like the fire, just all of a sudden happens immediately when you're like, you didn't even know that could happen.
He just real fast. He just came up, did it on such a big level, was so inspiring to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And his talent was even more than a talent. It was a gift.
Yes.
And I do feel that he was, it's more than what I feel. It was a gift to the world for sure.
You were, all the projects that you worked with him was like more towards like the end of his life, right? And then, because everything came out after?
Not everything. So there was Death Race for Love was while he was still alive,
Mm.
and then we were working on his next album, and just making music and having fun.
Yeah.
You know,
You guys did some amazing shit together, dude.
we
Yeah.
definitely, man, working with him and just creating with him
Yeah.
beyond even working.
Yeah.
It was not work. It was just creating and having fun. To see someone who's so gifted and to have fun with that gift,
Yeah.
it was like a kid in a candy shop.
Wow. How did Juice come into your life?
Through my friend Max Lord, who is Southside from 808 Mafia's engineer, and then he ended up becoming Juice's engineer. And between 2018 to 2020, I was staying in London like half the year. And yeah, Max ended up calling me. He said, "Yo, you in London?" I said, "Yeah, I'm over here." He said, "Cool." He said, "Me and Juice just landed." And I don't even know if I knew at that time. I hadn't realized that Max was Juice's engineer. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, what? Why are you with him?" Like, and Juice was brand new too, so it wasn't like it was had already been an established like figure in music for a while. It was kind of this new thing that was like, whoa, I'm just seeing this kid's name just popping up here and there, and it's kind of just, it was buzzing, it was going. And he said, "Oh, I'm his engineer. I'm doing all this stuff."
Nice.
I was like, "Whoa, cool." He said, "Yeah, I heard you're over at the studio. It was Metropolis, which I like, kind of almost to Shangri-La. It was in my whole life. I would say that was the closest. I did 3 months of what I did at Shangri-La at the studio Metropolis,
Wow.
and which was definitely an experience as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's
I
where
haven't been there.
that is a special
haven't
place.
been
I love
there.
that
Yeah,
place. And so Max Lord and Juice came and pulled up on me and M.I.A. And I had made this idea that day for M.I.A. with my friend M.I.A. I know the names are close, but and so Juice walked in and he started freestyling immediately, and we're like, "Whoa,
You're like,
what the
fuck?
yeah." So she was like, "What are you doing? Go in the booth right now." And he won past it, and then he punched it once, and it was a really amazing song. And what's crazy is he and I went on to make so much music, and that first song is still my favorite thing that we made. And we made a lot of really amazing stuff that I love a lot, but that one was an anomaly, and a lot of them are anomalies, but that one was, I think it was just the magic of us first meeting. And yeah, it was a really, really special joint, and I hope that comes out one day.
Oh man, let's manifest that.
Yeah.
Drop the right tracks. Drop what Juice would want dropped.
Please. Yeah, that's what I want to do for Juice.
Man, how did you process that loss?
That was hard. That was such it's just blindsided, just blowout of,
Yeah.
And of course, like, he'd have his things like, his vices like people have. But that was, yeah, you just couldn't believe it. It was totally, see, those things have prepared me for losing my house and shit like that, because losing people and like, especially losing not just a really good friend, but losing somebody you create with is it's like a second death to know that we'll never be able to create again, and that everything that we have created and everything that he has created is it. It was that was crazy. And it was just, yeah, it was so fast. It was so out of the blue, and it was just his birthday, and he was flying home to Chicago for his birthday. And yeah, my friend Carlton was on the plane with him, and yeah, it was unbelievable, and he was so young,
so proficient,
so like had everything right there just happening, and he was doing it. He was really doing it. It's crazy,
horrible, man.
Yeah, it was. Totally nuts.
Don't do that, people.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
You got to be careful with that shit.
And it's tough because, you'll have homies that you love, and you're like, yo, you should be careful, and whoops. Yeah. But you know what I mean? But it's like, if you're not someone's parent as well.
And he likes to party. Like,
you can only, I mean, we'd be telling him and stuff too, but he'd be like, yeah, no, you're right. I hear you. But that it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, what do you like? Yeah, it's tough, man. People have to make their own choices and live by them. And
Yeah.
And but he definitely did, you know, he did it his way, man. He had a dream. He saw that dream come true.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to this day. Even yesterday, like his fans hit me up and they just say, "Yo, we're listening to, you know, this stuff every day, and it's helped us with our lives." And
That's
it's
beautiful.
really beautiful to me.
That's super
Him
beautiful.
in particular, out of all, like, a lot of the music that I've made, I noticed that his music would really help like the kids or people.
It seems like his fans are super connected to him.
Yeah.
Like even still,
Yeah.
multiple albums are being dropped right still,
Yeah,
like,
literally.
which is crazy. But clearly the fans still just feel so connected to him. Like,
because he really tapped into the vulnerability
Yeah,
and he was able
the
to
honesty.
deliver it in a really honest way, in
Yeah,
a really
yeah.
pure way, you know, where he would almost like make fun of himself sometimes. And it was so, yeah, it was transparent and real
Man.
that I think a lot of people saw that in themselves and they should, you know, realize that they're not alone.
Mm-hmm. So to go from him to Roddy, right? So Roddy Ricch, you've been collaborating with. You did his first big breakout single, right? Fun, Die Young, which is
Yeah,
crazy
me and London on the track.
Yeah, with London on the track.
And then my friend Peter Lee Johnson as well.
Yes, dude. That's, I mean, such a great song. And I mean, yeah, you've had something awesome with Roddy going on.
It's cool, man, and it was a trip too after,
Yeah.
you know, doing White Iverson with Post and then
Yeah.
seeing that again.
I was
and
gonna say the beginning of these.
Yeah, it was a really magic thing for me. And I remember going to London and seeing multiple cars driving around playing it was pretty crazy to me. See, you know, it's like this kid from Compton and it's LA shit. It's like I'm from LA too. And to see LA in the cars driving down the street on London.
Yeah.
In London was crazy
That's
to me.
wild.
It was crazy.
You've got to see both fires kind of spark.
Yeah.
With both of them. Like,
yeah, it was crazy. And then they ended up doing a tour together. And I remember, yeah, they were like going head to head at the Grammys. And they're both really, really special, amazing artists and hold down different spectrums in music. And
super proficient too. Another super proficient artist.
Yeah, Roddy is so good. And
Yeah.
it's not too common at all that you see someone who really wants it. Well, you'll see people who really want it, but it's rare to see the people who really want it and are willing to take the steps
Yeah.
that it takes to get there and to get better and to learn more. And he's someone that is always avidly wanting and doing learning.
Yes.
He always wants to learn more. He wants to be better, and he's taking the steps to do it. And I definitely really believe in him a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's a great guy.
And he's young.
Yeah.
He's already got the Grammy. He's already got the #1 song. He's already got the #1 album.
One thing that stood out to me, you and I were at dinner with him the other night, and we were like 20 minutes into the dinner or something. Like we had just eaten the first like few bites, and he was like, "I'm inspired. I'm gonna go to the studio."
Yeah.
He got him. He's like, "You'll meet me there, right?" All right, cool. And he left. I was like, "Wow, that is." It shows how proficient he is, and it was like something was in him, and he was like, "I gotta go to the studio right now."
Yeah, it's probably because we were watching Keon Harold.
Oh yeah.
He's like, "Oh man, this is all right. I'll see you there."
This is wild. I'm gonna go to the studio.
And he's a really good dude. He even I didn't even realize, but I think he paid the thing too. You know,
he threw down a few $100.
Yeah, exactly. It was just out.
Yeah.
Didn't even get anything.
Yeah. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
So like it's funny like to think about like Post into Thug into then working with like Lil Uzi Vert and working with Juice and all these it's this certain like genre of hip hop that you've like found yourself, you know, really entrenched in.
Yeah,
like,
it's a trip, man. And it's a trip because sometimes, you know, it's like watching yourself age in a mirror where you know it's happening, but you're not really realizing what's happening exactly. And then looking back, I was saying this to my guy Reese yesterday. Some kid tagged me in the Love Is Rage 2 album with Uzi. And I'm looking back and I'm like, whoa, like this is like a new, you know, like classic in a way of and I feel super grateful to be, you know, part of these projects and a part of the journeys of these artists that are all really special artists. and so unique in all their own ways, but different pieces of the puzzle of this new generation.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is really completely different. This whole new hip hop sound is so different than the generation before it.
It's true. It's a
So
trip,
different.
man. And it's a trip
Yeah.
also like zooming out for myself and looking at it from a more of a third person perspective
Yeah.
and realizing like, damn, this is the front lines of the 2010s and the 2020s of what music is. You know, because we've also really been lucky to be here at a time where hip hop has damn near become pop music.
Yeah.
It's not even damn near, it's become popular music.
Yes.
And
It's completely dominated
Yeah.
popular music.
and
Yeah.
to watch that happen and to be there for it while it's happening it's magic. And I feel very, again, grateful and lucky.
Yeah.
But luck is what my mom would tell me when I was younger, is when preparation meets opportunity.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely, dude. I always say that. What is Uzi like in a session?
Brilliant. He's really such a creative mind. And I think there's certain artists too who really understand how the world build,
Yep.
you know, and create the experience of something that you step into and you're like, whoa. You know, like Abel is like that too.
Yeah.
And yeah, not everybody gets it, but
Yeah.
to see him lean in all the way is inspiring.
Is he high energy? Is he?
It depends. I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of like all of us. It's like we
Yeah.
can be high energy
Right,
or
right,
depending on the
right,
day or whatever. But it'll come out, and he's someone who really has a vision. Some people are kind of like more savant like, where it's just happening and then they realize it after. He is seeing the music video while we're recording the song.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the song, the guy who's doing the video is showing up. You know, and, or like the creative director,
Wow.
and he'll be talking about the idea of the video with the creative director, and then I'll see that music video come out in a couple of months, and it is what he talked about while we were making the song.
That is awesome.
It's pretty. It's impressive.
That's how you keep him moving too.
Yeah,
he's constantly moving, and it's like it's funny because a lot of the times, I mean, he sings very differently live, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like I wonder if that's intentional too. Of like, I'm going to bring this energy to live versus what's on the record.
That's cool. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it's very different. You know, it's like super intense, super. It's like hip hop metal, right? Or
Yeah, exactly.
What it could be. I mean,
But he brings that energy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's punk, it's metal, it's rock star shit.
What about Rocky, man? Rocky is like one of my favorites, dude.
Just, I mean, before anything else, just one of the best people.
That's awesome.
He's such a good dude, and it's inspiring to me to watch, you know, someone who, you know, I was a fan of Rocky before I even met Rocky, and to see someone who's done it on such a high level and not compromised, not sacrificed, you know, authenticity and taste for anything, you know, and to remain on that and stand on that and to rise to like the tops and not lose yourself.
Yes.
Because you see it. You see when people, they get lost in the sauce. And as far as I've ever known him for like maybe 8 years now, 7 or 8 years, he's I've never seen him not be a great human being.
Oh, it's the best, dude. What's he like when
Even
like...
when my house burned down, he was one of the first people to hit me up and he said, yo, my house studio is your house studio.
Amazing.
You know? He'd probably be like, shit, you shouldn't even said that. But you know what I mean? Because he doesn't do it for that. But that's, you know, he gave me that spot. And that was him. And then of course Manny also showed a lot of love.
Yeah, Manny Marroquin, our boy.
Yep. And it's really to me so I'm so grateful to be able to work with people like Rocky and like Manny, who are really great people, and their art is a reflection of that as well. And it's kind of like Quincy, what he said. You know, a person's art can never be more or less than they are as a human being.
Yes, dude. Absolutely.
And I totally feel that, and I totally believe that.
Yeah.
And I really believe that our art is or that a person's art is where your soul you can't hide who you are.
These are all glowing humans.
Yeah.
All of these people.
Yeah.
Like it's super inspiring. I love LA, man. I love like thinking about like
Yeah,
all these
we're
beings.
lucky, man.
We're super lucky. Absolutely. What about Rocky? What about tracking Rocky's vocal? I feel like I love his voice. Like, and
Yeah.
I love everything. I love his approach. I love it live too. Like he's such a good performer. Like, is he quick? Are the takes quick?
Yeah, I think he knows what he wants, or he knows what he's trying to convey.
Yeah.
At least that from my understanding.
Yeah.
And then he just has such great taste that he's like, oh, this right here. Yep, that's cool. All right, I'm gonna fix this thing right here. And he is someone that I relate with, in which he'll do something that is amazing, and everyone's like, whoa, and he'll be like, no, let me try again. You know what I mean? And he'll strive for even more, and then he'll find it.
He'll push for it.
Yeah.
Out of everyone that you've been working with, like you've worked with some of the best rappers alive, man. Like who would you think who's the most proficient? Who's the fastest?
I mean, Juice. There was nothing like that.
Wow.
And I asked Juice. I was like, are you actually thinking that fast? Are you thinking about what you're gonna say? And he said no. He said, I just open my mouth and it comes out. And I believe him. And one of the only other people who in that sort of capacity, where I'm like, whoa, just the amount. And again, it's never a race. It doesn't matter. You know, because someone can make 10 songs in a day, and then someone can make one song that, you know, smokes those 10 songs. But some people are able to hold the consistency as well. And yeah, the other day with Roddy, I think we made 11 songs, which usually if anyone told me they made 11 songs in a day, I would actually be afraid to hear it.
Yeah, totally.
But if I walked away with one of those songs, one of any of those 11 songs, I would have been stoked.
Yes.
It was, we were both like, whoa.
You played me one of them and I loved it, dude. I hope it makes.
He's willing to, you know, to push it. He is someone that's also striving for more.
Yeah.
And it's funny how it works. It's when you strive for more, you will find it. Man. You know, as long as you're willing to take the time and feed the curiosities.
All right, so now you're about 10 years in on being a professional producer?
I guess so, yeah. Which is a trip, and that gave me a big perspective. Anytime I see anyone else that's 10 years in, it is a war vet.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you must have lived and died a few times. You're still standing.
For sure.
I know it's crazy for everybody out there.
What do you want the next 10 years to be for you?
I want to take everything that I've ever done and let that be the foundation for what's about to come next. Mm-hmm. And I want to take all of the things that I've learned and realized from the greatest in the world and the greatest of all time. And I want to spirit bomb all those gems back out into the world in a way that people, you know, can receive them and understand them. And for that to be an example.
Well, let me know how I can help.
Absolutely, we're doing it right now.
Let's go. I want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen. You know it. Rex, thanks for coming by, bro.
Thank you, Elmo.
It's been good hanging these last few weeks. We got to keep the hang going. Man. When we're in the same city, bro, I'm coming over. When I left the studio with you a couple nights ago, I called my girl and I was like, I love Rex, man. I was like so inspired hearing what you were working on, and then just seeing Manny's new spot, which there's a new Manny spot he'll be announcing soon.
Yeah.
And just like I was, bumping into the homies as we were walking around, and I was just like, dude, we're so lucky. Like I love the community.
It's the best, and that's why I'm all right. Given the whole fire situation, everything, and life is crazy, and there'll always be things like that.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us can ever live our lives and not deal with unimaginable loss. And that's an unfortunate thing to say, but it's also a real thing to say. We're all going to go. Everything goes. And what we do while we're here matters.
Yeah.
Most.
And we got to just appreciate it and be present. Realize how lucky we are. And keep having fun along the way. Every day. While we do it. Well, much love, bro. You're a special guy, Rex Kudo. You're a special guy, man.
Thank you, Elmo.
Grateful to be friends.
Go with Elmo.
Give a bunch of noise for Rex.
Go with Elmo. 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 This is the stuff, man.